truth. Most people don't tend to go broke or be sort of worse off financially because of one big, massive mistake that they made financially. They tend to sort of go broke slowly, falling into little money traps as they go along, and these things just drain their wealth over time. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the 5 biggest money traps that people tend to fall into and essentially how you can avoid them. If you haven't come across my channel before, hi, my name is Anna. I'm actually a chartered accountant and I worked in finance for 11 years before changing my career. And now I'm essentially studying to be a financial advisor, and I teach people about finance on YouTube, and I teach English as well. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will be equipped to be better off financially than most average people. So let's jump straight in. So the first trap is lifestyle inflation. Now, if you don't know what lifestyle inflation is, think about it this way. Have you ever noticed how as you get paid more, so if you get a pay rise or a new promotion, you suddenly need all these new things. You suddenly need a new car, a better house, or a new coffee machine or something. This is called lifestyle inflation, and literally I cannot tell you how many people I know who fall for this trap. It is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, killers of long-term wealth, because as you get the pay rise and you spend it, that's it. And the smartest people I know financially, what they do in this instance is they essentially just set up a direct debit for the difference. So if you get a pay rise of an extra, I don't know, £200 a month, just set up a direct debit for £200 a month to go into your savings or investments. Trap number 2 is bad debt. Now notice how I said bad debt, not debt, because not all debt is equal. Good debt can actually help you. So we're talking things like mortgages or financing a business or even financing a rental property that brings you income every month. But bad debt is essentially toxic debt. So we're talking things like credit cards, payday loans, commercial loans, high interest car loans, which I've fallen a victim to. These are essentially financial handcuffs. Say you carry a £2,000 credit card in 20% interest. If you only ever make the minimum payments, which you tend to get encouraged to do, it can take you over a decade to pay that off, and it will cost you thousands in interest. You are literally just burning that money. The way to avoid this trap though is always ask yourself, is this debt going to make me richer or poorer over time? And if the answer is poorer, then you probably shouldn't do it. Just avoid it at all costs. Trap number 3 is something that I hear people talk about all the time. I literally had someone say it to me a few weeks ago, and it was, I wish I had started investing sooner. So waiting too long to invest is the third trap. It is one of the costliest traps of all over the long term. A lot of people tend to have the mindset either that investing is too risky and they don't want to do it, and then when they finally get into it, they realize that they wish they had started earlier, or they think, I will start when I have more money. But that delay comes at a massive cost, because the longer you have money invested, the more it has time to compound over time. And here's a simple example. So if you started investing just £200 a month at age 25, you could literally grow that into $500,000 by the time that you retire. Obviously, we're assuming past returns here, which you should never do, but you can take an average of returns over time. So taking the average market returns over time, you would be able to grow that to 200 a month into $500,000. Now, if you wait until you are 35 to do the same and start investing £200 a month just 10 years later, you only end up with about half as much, even though you invested the same amount every month. Time is literally the one resource you will never get back. Think about it as the best time to plant the tree was yesterday, but the second best time is today. And since we're talking about starting your investing journey, if you haven't already, this video is sponsored by XTB. If you've been thinking about getting started with investing, but you're not sure where to start, XTB makes it really simple and accessible. On their platform, you can invest in thousands of global stocks and ETFs, which I'm a massive fan of, especially for beginners, with zero commission. Their app is beginner friendly, but it also has the more advanced in-depth tools once you are ready and want to go deeper. And remember when I spoke about people wanting to wait until they have more money to invest? It's because there's a big misconception that you need a lot of money to invest. And with platforms like XTB, that is just not true. And just remember, even small contributions just invested consistently can grow massively thanks to compounding. I will leave a link in the description down below if you are interested and want to open an account with XTB. And if you do, please let me know what you think. So, moving on to trap number 4, and that is neglecting your emergency fund. Most people don't realize just how fragile their finances are until something goes wrong. A job loss or a broken car, oh my God. In our family over the last year, the amount of broken cars and huge repair bills that aren't covered by insurance or are part covered by insurance is insane. It's been just like the worst year in my family for car problems. Thankfully, knock on wood, mine's been okay. But for me, it's been a tough year with animals. So, you know, without an emergency fund, you are literally just plunged straight into debt at literally the worst possible time. So as we mentioned, commercial debt, bad debt, is toxic. It was trap number 2, right? So we want to avoid this at all costs. So think of an emergency fund as a safety net. And, you know, ideally you want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses, mostly for things like job loss. But even if you have like a couple £1,000 in there, it is still a massive help for smaller emergencies without you getting into debt, because most commercial debt you end up paying twice as much back. And make sure that this cash is in an easily accessible account. Nobody brags about having cash in a boring savings account. But when life hits you sideways, it is literally the one thing that will keep you afloat. And trap number 5, the final trap that we're going to talk about, is following the crowd, aka keeping up with the Joneses. The fear of missing out, the hype trap. Everyone around you is jumping into meme stocks, hot crypto coins, or trendy investments. It tends to feel like you're missing out. But the truth is that by the time the hype has already started, it's usually too late. I always think about the whole GameStop debacle. And if you end up buying a financial instrument, investment, whatever it is, because Instagram or TikTok or YouTube told you to, you're not really investing, you're gambling. The smarter path that you want to choose is strategies backed by research. Focus on assets you actually understand. Remember, I think it's Warren Buffett, correct me if I'm wrong, that said you shouldn't invest in things you don't understand. And think long term. Anything that promises you quick results, short-term results, big short-term results, usually a gamble. The crowd will always chase excitement and quick wins, but the wealthy chase fundamentals. So there you have it. The 5 biggest money traps that I think are really important. Lifestyle inflation, bad debt, waiting too long to start investing, neglecting your emergency fund, and following the crowd. Now, the good news is that awareness is half the battle. So if you have made it this far, congratulations. Now that you know these traps, you can sidestep them when you come across them. Tell me in the comments, which of these traps do you think people fall into the most, or which have you fallen into? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if the video helped you, please do give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel and my animals, because I foster a lot of animals with the money I make from this YouTube channel. So hit like, subscribe, and share with anyone who you might think will benefit from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to XTB again for sponsoring this video. See you in the next video. Bye.